Hi everyone, my name is Brianna Cole and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 18 months old. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am so happy to have you. If you've been here before, welcome back. So how can you support somebody who has diabetes, whether it's a family member or friend? Well, first, ask the question. Ask them, how can I support you? And what areas do you need support? People want to know that you care. People do not want to hear when it comes to support that they can't. When somebody tells me I can't do something, annoys the crap out of me, excuse me, just because it's like, one, are you a medical professional? Two, are you going through what I'm going through? And three, I'm rebellious, where if you're going to tell me not to do something, I'm going to want to do the opposite. So if I go to pick up a piece of cake and somebody says to me, oh, you can't have that, you're diabetic, like, excuse you? Like, what do you mean? So don't come from that place. Don't be that person, because that is not supportive. If anything, it's actually annoying. Nobody wants to hear no for an answer, never mind hearing that they can't do something because of your diabetes. Set the example. When I say set the example, if you notice your loved one has symptoms of high blood sugar, such as urinating often, needing to use the bathroom often, extreme thirst, and you're both about to go out and get ice cream, hypothetically, or you're both about to go out to dinner, don't tell them, oh, you can't eat this, you can't have ice cream, or you can't get this on the menu, and then meanwhile you're just going to eat ice cream in front of them or enjoy yourself in front of them. Nobody wants to see that, so set the example. Have a conversation. Have a conversation with a family member or friend, and you notice that they're not taking care of themselves, talk to them about it. Talk to them in a way where you're on their side and you're not talking at them, but you're talking with them. You could just simply say, hey, I noticed you haven't been checking your blood sugars these last couple of days. How are you doing? Or, hey, I've noticed X, Y, and Z. How can I support you? I think what's so important when it comes to supporting somebody with diabetes is educating yourself. When I say educate yourself, I don't mean talk to your neighbor next door and then they instill their beliefs about diabetes onto you, but more so talk to a medical professional who knows about the disease, or even other type 1 or type 2 diabetics who are going through the disease, and ask them, hey, like, what are some struggles when it comes to diabetes? Hey, how does your family support you when it comes to diabetes? Just because, one, you're getting some of that real life experience, and two, you're also getting that medical advice, where sometimes maybe your neighbor next door might say some ridiculous thing like, oh, diabetics can't have sugar, or, what we see online and on social media, which isn't accurate about diabetes, like, oh, only overweight people have diabetes, or only older people have diabetes, where a lot of this stuff is not true. There are so many support groups out there, all through social media, all basically on our phones, where you can simply join different Facebook groups. There's different apps. And I highly recommend it, especially if somebody's newly diagnosed in your family, just to kind of see what they're going through on a daily basis and how other type 1 diabetics or type 2 diabetics think. Where type 1 and type 2 is so different, but at the same time, there's also so many similarities as well. It's also important to know that if you do have somebody close to you with diabetes, it's not an easy disease. It's something also very difficult to understand unless you have the disease. So always be open ears. Always listen. If you notice they're having mood swings, maybe it's their blood sugars, maybe they're really high, or maybe they're really low. If they're feeling agitated, it may be the same thing. Where a diabetic never wants to hear, like, you're so cranky, go test yourself, or go test yourself, what's your blood sugar? Really coming from that place either, because that can actually annoy them, at least for me, even more, where let's say I'm feeling agitated and somebody goes to me, what's your blood sugar? It's almost like a slap in the face, where it's not going to make things better. You also need to be able to communicate how you feel with your friends and family if you are diabetic, because you cannot expect your friends and family to read your mind. If you're not feeling well and you know your blood sugars are high, communicate that with them. That's okay too. You're feeling moody and it's because of your blood sugars. Let them know, like, hey, my blood sugars are a little out of whack today. Just want to give you a heads up in advance, where if you don't communicate these things, they don't know. And it's okay. Communicate these things with your friends and family on the areas of where you need support with, because I think it's so important to really establish that trust with family members and friends and letting them know what helps and what doesn't. It's okay to tell them, hey, when you say this to me, it really doesn't help. You know, can you try saying this to me, which would be helpful, and really communicating, because it works both ways. The biggest takeaway, honestly, I'm just going to go back to what I said in the beginning, is simply just asking that family member or friend, how can I support you? What do you need from me in order for you to manage your diabetes? And I also want to be totally upfront and honest with all of you. You cannot force somebody either to manage their diabetes and take care of themselves. They're going to need to want it for themselves. If you're a diabetic and you're watching this right now, please comment below on how your family members and friends can support you, because your comment can help somebody else. Again, if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing below, clicking that like button, and I am so excited to share more content with you all.